Let's invite Mr. Tulsian and Mayuresh Joshi in this conversation. Mr. Tulsian, good afternoon. Of course, we'll discuss Reliance's numbers when they come out. Wanted your thoughts on if you saw the flashes on Jio. Your first thoughts on that, because they've given the net worth, the debt equity ratio, all these figures have been given.
See, Anuj, coming on the financial numbers, I don't think that they are relevant, because for the simple reason that the income has been shown at 0.5 crore, that means about 50 lakhs. And that means that indicates that no revenue has been booked, and rightly so. Whatever amount which they must have got, even on that 99 rupees on that Reliance, that Jio offer, will all get booked in the next year. That is because it pertains for the period from 1st April, number one. Number two, since you have referred on the net worth, I think the equity has been stated at somewhere at around 68,000 crore with a debt equity ratio of 0.67 to 1. So that means the debt is about 45,000 crore and net worth or maybe the equity is 67,000 crore. So I think that instead of equity 67,000 crore, we need to know the net worth, that what is a net worth. Because if you go by the ballpark number which has been indicated from the press releases, and whatever has been gathered, the company has made an investment of over 2 lakh crore. And if you take 67,000 crore as the base and take the DER, debt equity ratio of 0.67, that gives a total capex or total value of 1,30,000 crore only. So this needs to. So I think that as such these data are not relevant at all, because ultimately, as I have been stating repeatedly, that the interest and depreciation, two things will really be playing a very important role for the Reliance Jio financial performance. Because I have not been taking on the EBITDA, the margin, or maybe the EBITDA margin, because I don't think that EBITDA margin is relevant for any projects where there is huge capex involved, as I have stated, of more than 2 lakh crore, which is in the case of Reliance Jio. So I won't be taking these numbers as too seriously. They are just passing numbers, which has no reflection in the ultimate numbers to be declared by Reliance Industries this evening.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you for explaining that, Mr. Tulsian. Afternoon, the stock in the sector of the day undoubtedly is cement. NSE's volume numbers at 4% growth, did it surprise you? And would you raise your target prices on some of these names like ACC, Ultratech Cement post their earnings?
See, Sonia, if you go by the 4% volume growth, definitely that has surprised me, because actually the growth has been seen there. In fact, if you recall, since the demonetization, or maybe after 15 days of demonetization, the ground picture was giving a different story. And come 1st January thereafter, we have really seen a big offtake, seen happening in case of cement. And actually, if you really take a call going forward for the Q2 also, because the consumption of the cement is going to quite robust up to 30th June, because though you don't see the monsoon reaching pan India by 30th June. So yes, 4% growth on the ACC is very important. And apart from that, I won't be taking too much concern on the margins having posted. Even they have all started is strengthening, because I won't be taking, whether you take the case of Ultratech Cement or ACC, I won't be taking the margin comparison on a YOY basis. One may argue that these are the relevant data, but even if you go by the QOQ also, because Q3 is also seen to be a good month, one may argue that because of the demonetization, things have not seen reflecting into the quantity. But on the margin fronts also, I think for this Q4, the company, both ACC and Ultratech, have performed very well. And actually, the material fact for the cement companies going forward will be the quantity growth. I think the profitability, because if you see the operating leverages, all these companies are operating on an aggregate basis at a level of sub 70%. And if you have a growth of about 5-6%, that translates into a huge expansion in the margins for the company. So I am quite happy with the performance seen having seen from ACC, and even for the financial results from Ultratech.
Okay, Mayuresh, good afternoon. The other pocket which has done well of late is aviation. Today also we have seen Jet Airways and Indigo rally quite a bit. Your thoughts on this space and any stock that you're playing right now?
Afternoon, Anuj. So yes, I think rightfully, aviation stocks react to the volatility in crude prices as ETF prices start going down, because that's a huge contributor to their input costs. The kind of efficiency gains that one expects on the margins is seen quite evidently. Secondly, I think if one really assumes crude to probably stay in a range between $55 and $60 on the higher side, I think the EBITDA margin compression that you've probably seen because of crude hike prices going up, I think are no longer existent on the book. Secondly, I think in terms of the core quarters itself, I think the coming quarter is going to be extremely crucial and very, very supportive for aviation stocks as the holiday season starts coming around. With the load factors that you've probably seen for the month gone by, a very encouraging sign as consolidation is taking place, along with regional connectivity coming to the forefront. My own sense is that aviation stocks load factors will remain constant and improve thereafter. Secondly, I think the margin compression that we've seen should largely stabilize. And the other cost elements that happen on the balance sheet because of sale leaseback, they obviously stay, and that causes some amount of depression in terms of cash flows. But as I think the aviation industry will expect it to poise and grow at 18-20% over the next few years, and the industry being a 3-4 player industry, I think these players should do well. So yes, I think SpiceJet on declines is something that will continue to remain optimistic about.
Okay, SpiceJet, that's a stock that has been rallying quite a bit in any case. Let's do one thing, let's take a break. Our closing bell money control question of the day is on ACC. It reported a volume growth after 3 quarters of a decline. The question we're asking today is the worst over for the cement sector. Log on to moneycontrol.com and post your responses there, and we will read out some of the most interesting ones post 3:30 p.m. today. Also coming up, last week meetings were held between the Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister and the UP Sugar Mills Association over the deadline to clear arrears. We'll discuss the sector with Mr. S.P. Tulsian on the other side. Hi, welcome back to the show. It's turning out to be a really good market. I mean, look at some of these stocks and the way they're surging right now. Indian Bank is up 8.5% ahead of its results tomorrow. That stock has suddenly moved up with quite a bit of gusto. Look at something like Mastech. That one has surged about 9% just in the last 5-10 minutes, and it has been rallying ever since it reported good set of numbers in this quarter. So Mastech now another 9% higher there. Something like a Torrent Power is also following suit. That one too, just in the last half hour, has seen a huge surge. So there's plenty of action that you can't afford to miss out in this market. Sandeep Wagle joins in now to give us the stocks that he is interested in at this hour. Sandeep, what are you looking at?
Afternoon, Sonia. I had written Indian Bank, but the target has already come, so I would skip that. The second call is a buy in a Ultratech Cement. Stop loss 4104, target 4320.
Okay, so Ultratech and Indian Bank's target already met. Sandeep, thanks a lot for those trading ideas. Well, let's discuss sugar sector, a sector where we have seen huge rally over the last 6 months to 12 months. And of course, Ms. Tulsian had been alerting us about some of these stocks which have become 8 and 10 baggers now, especially names like Dwarikesh Sugar. Ms. Tulsian, first, why has ISMA stopped giving the fortnightly production numbers? Because that used to be, a bit of a cue for us in terms of what's happening with the sector. Any ideas on why ISMA has stopped giving these numbers?
Anuj, I may not be having answer for that, but if you really see the behavior of ISMA, in the since the start of the series and the kind of projection they have given, first they gave at 234 lakhs ton for the season, which will be ending on this 30th September. Then they reduce it to 213 lakh ton and then reduce it to 203 lakh ton. And you are right in saying that they have been giving the fortnightly production figure for all India, but same figures have not seen for the fortnight ended 15th February, fortnight ended for 28th February, and fortnight ended for 15th March. Because if you see the situation going forward, because if you recall about maybe a month back when Mr. Verma, the Director General of ISMA, was in channel, he was very categorical in saying that 203 lakhs the production is going to get achieved, which I have said that it is unlikely. But anyway, coming on the ground, the situation is looking very bad, and probably maybe just to not to present that picture that the situation is so bad, they may have skipped it. But I don't think that this is right on part of a trade body, that to an all India trade body, and those things must be shared with the public at large. And I've heard that there has been an RTI application also by an applicant who has asked for all these details, which the government has forwarded to ISMA, but no reply of that has come. So yes, it is sad that the production figure of the sugar mills or on all India basis have not been released by ISMA for last three fortnights, which I could only see that it is only because of the precarious situation on the production front seen prevailing in the country. Because if you go by the situation, Maharashtra, Karnataka is totally stopped. In Tamil Nadu, there is a huge grave drought situation. In UP, the things are only moving, and in rest on all India basis, things are really quite bad.
So, Mr. Tulsian, if you had to identify some companies for us that are seeing a higher amount of production, which ones would they be, and stocks that perhaps investors can still look at?
See, Sonia, simple math. If I just go by the state quickly, Maharashtra and Karnataka will be showing a drop of about 42 to 45% in their production over last year. And if I just then choose the third state, that is UP probably, last year they have produced 68 lakh ton, and I'm expecting that probably this season the production will be 86 lakh ton. That means a growth of about 26%, and UP will emerge as the largest producing state of the sugar in this season, because that slot was always held by Maharashtra for ages. So obviously, if you are taking a call that in a situation when the production is estimated to be less than 200 lakh ton, you need to pick and choose the companies or the state where the production is going to be much higher than what we have seen last year. Because if the country is going to see a production drop of about 20%, last year production was 251 lakh ton. This year it is not going to be, or it will be sub 200 lakh ton. That means there is a drop of about 20%. As against that, UP will be producing 26% more at an estimated by about, maybe, as I said, 86 lakh ton, because in next 2 or 3 days all UP mills also will stop crushing. So in that background, the focus should always be on the UP based sugar mill. And now if I need to pick and choose among the UP sugar mills, Triveni Engineering, whatever production figure I have, they have produced 71 lakh, or they will be producing 71 lakh bags of sugar against 49 lakh bags of sugar what they have produced in the previous season. Because till day before, the Triveni has produced 70.23 lakh bags of sugar. So they will be showing a growth of about 26%. Maybe the Dalmia, because Dalmia have presence in UP as well as in Maharashtra, but UP will be showing a growth of about 23-24%. Dwarikesh will be showing Balrampur Chini, because of the lower production seen in East, is still there. 2 mills are running, Kumbi and Guleria. They may be showing a production growth of about maybe 15-16%. So if you take a total situation, I think my pecking order obviously will go with Triveni Engineering, because they have, as I said, that they will be recording a production growth of about 46% over last year. And if you go by the valuation parameters also, if you look to the market cap of 2,500-2,600 crore for Triveni Engineering, people forget that Triveni Engineering is also holding 7.2 crore shares of Triveni Turbine, the market value of which is about 1,000 crore. So on the valuation parameter also, Triveni looks the cheapest. And in the pecking order, then second I will probably go with the Dwarikesh Sugar, third could be Dalmia Bharat, and fourth will be Balrampur, because Balrampur is coming into F&O from this Thursday also. In F&O you will only be having one sugar stocks, and people will definitely be lapping to go for sugar stocks as the situation will be get revealed on the production front. So taking these into consideration, focus should be on UP based sugar mills only, and not on the any other Maharashtra, Karnataka or Tamil Nadu. And amongst UP also, as I've said, that I've given you pecking order of Triveni, followed by Dwarikesh, third Dalmia, fourth Balrampur Chini.
Okay, that's interesting. Remember, Mr. Tulsian, you had spoken about Dwarikesh Sugar and Balrampur Chini and Dalmia Bharat. I think it was in one of our investor camps. And since then, we saw stock prices going 5x, 6x, in certain cases more than that. And now, of course, Mr. Tulsian believes that Triveni Engineering is the stock to focus on. Mr. Tulsian, thanks a lot for those insights into sugar. That's a sector which clearly you understand best among all of us. And we will keep talking about that, because it's really been a big rally on sugar. So we'll keep discussing that as well. But for now, let's also invite Jay Bala to discuss the overall market technicals, because the market as we speak is surging. The Nifty up 100 points, the Bank Nifty up 300 points. Jay, hi, good afternoon. So 21,900 nearly on the bank Nifty and 9,200 on the Nifty. What next?
Yeah, there are two options going forward here. The long-term price projection of 9660 that we made in March 2016 still holds. And see, basically, what happens in the short term is going to be a bit of a guesswork. Basically, you can't predict precisely the short-term movements. We could have a slight new high above the 9273 high that we made a couple of months ago, and then the market might drop back to the 9K, or it's going to pummel through that resistance at 9273 and then go straight to 9600 to 9800. So that's we're going to keep it on the watch, and we're going to focus on the market from a medium to long term perspective. What happens in the short term is immaterial because we are anyway getting further record highs for the market.
Okay, well, Jay, hi, afternoon. Speaking to you after a long time. I remember the last time we spoke to you a couple of months ago, one of the stocks that you had recommended was Bharat Forge, and I think at that time the stock was at 900. It's moved to 1100 now. Has the time come to book profits, or do you think that there's still more steam left for that stock on the upside?
I think it was it was slightly lower, even somewhere close to the times where it came up with bad results. I think it was about 700 odds. I think there's still room left for the stock. When it was at those levels, they said the stock is heading for record highs. They're looking at about 1500 for Bharat Forge, and it's just making the middle portion of its move. There's further steam left for the stock, and I'm sure the record highs will be taken out.
Jay, the other interesting bit has been the kind of rally that we have seen in PSU banks. Do you think this rally has more legs to go? Because clearly a lot of under ownership has played out. But technically, how are these stocks looking?
Yeah, the banks still have further upside left. Particularly, you spoke about PSU banks. I think you should look at SBI from this point onwards. I think we are focusing on that for record highs of 350 plus for some time now. And the private banks have done quite well. I think the rotation is coming into the PSU banks, and they are bound to take the lead from here. And also, within the private space, Axis, which went to 650 and came back much lower and corrected. And I think that's also setting up for the record highs close to 650 to 700. So banking still has steam. We had a price projection of about 23,000 for a banking index. I think it all depends on what the private banks do from here on. And if they show further promise, I think we can even look at 27,000 for the banking index.
Okay, the other stock that you have been recommending is Tata Elxsi. That stock has actually gone up 50% over the last 6 months. I was looking at the chart. It's moved from 1,000 back to almost 1,600. But it's still off its highs of 2,000 that it saw, a year or two ago. Do you think there's still more to go on Tata Elxsi?
Oh, definitely. I think the IT sector as such has a lot of promise, in my opinion. But, whether or not the IT index as such goes up, there are a couple of stocks within the IT space which are bound to do well, and one of them is Tata Elxsi. As you rightly pointed out, I've been recommending this for quite some time now, and I think this is going to go to record highs beyond 2,400, 2,500, and so quite obviously that's a sizable upside from here, and I'm positive on that stock. And also within the space, Oracle Financials is starting to look quite promising here. I think within the next say a week or so, if you have to see a strong bounce back from current levels, I think this stock is heading to record highs beyond 4,000 to 4,200. Watch out for this. This is a new pick here.
Thanks a lot for your time today, and of course, I hope we talk again in near future. The market surging over the last few weeks, but Mr. Wilson, coming back to today's trade. PSU banks are rallying, the smaller ones, Vijaya Bank, Dena Bank, Indian Bank. What do you make of this rally?
See, Anuj, coming specifically on the smaller PSU bank, I can only say that probably catch-up may be happening, because if you see the larger PSU banks like SBI, PNB, Bank of Baroda, Bank of India, they have risen quite a lot on the hopes of the NPA resolution. And in fact, I have been banking on this news for about last maybe a month or so, when Finance Minister, in our India Business Leader Award, has stated that the resolution will be seen quite soon. And we have seen a move having taken in that direction by RBI a couple of days back. And actually, to start with probably the power generation and steel sector, because in both the sectors things are really seen, happening on a very expeditious way, because of there are potential acquirers also of these projects. Whether you talk of the steel sector and taking that into consideration. In fact, I gave a buy call on Bhushan Steel and Monet's Path also about 2 weeks back, and both the stocks have risen by about 20% or 25% since then. So maybe because if you see the consortium of the banks, lined up in all these stress loan accounts, they are largely the PSU banks, and only the matter of share. If the State Bank has an exposure of 1,000 crore, you will be seen an exposure of Vijaya Bank of about 100 crore or maybe 80 crore or 75 crore. Because none of these PSU banks are spared, whether you talk the account of Bhushan Steel or you talk of Kingfisher or you talk of SR Steel, because you have not seen the names of the private sector banks appearing in that list, maybe exception being ICICI Bank or Axis Bank. So taking these into consideration, I am quite hopeful that the resolution of the NPA will start on a case-to-case basis or on a sector-to-sector basis, because we will be having an oversight committee also who will set the guidelines maybe for the sector, and within those parameters the resolution of these stress accounts will start happening. So that will be seen quite positive. So maybe valuation catch-up, the differential valuation catch-up between large and smaller PSU banks may be happening, but I am keeping a very positive view on these PSU banks as well as on the company which are specifically seen, likely to get hands changed on the NPA resolution. Yeah.
Okay, well, high point of trade for Vijaya Bank and for Indian Bank, so huge surge there. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we will get you a check on the mood across the dealing rooms, and we'll also get some BTST calls going. Stay with us.
Welcome back. The Bank Nifty is now up 322 points, 1.5% higher. So phenomenal the way that index is surging. And in terms of other names which are doing well, Suzlon all of a sudden has made a bit of a move, and Adani Enterprises also making a move. But it's time for our Monday special Midcap Mania with Nigel D'Souza. Nigel, what's on your radar?
Well, Anuj, today I'm going to be talking about an MNC, Linde India. I remember for the last few years, the only story that everyone has been talking about is about delisting. But let's analyze the company very, very closely. Why exactly the stock has been on a bit of a run? What does the company do? They're a leading industrial gases company in India. And let's pull up a couple of pictures. If you talk about auto ancillary, this could be a bit of a steel ancillary, because it sets up air separation units for companies like Tata Steel. When you have a blast furnace, you require oxygen, nitrogen, argon as well. And this is exactly what they do. They follow a BOO model. That's they build, they own, and they operate it also. In addition to that, they also, the cylinders that were up for you on the screen, they're used in hospitals. So that really is the retail part of their business. They've taken up many expansions in the last 1 year or so. Tata Steel, for example, at Kalinganagar, and a couple of units for ITC, as well as another unit in Andhra Pradesh as well as in Telangana. So those are the expansions that have been coming on stream. You look at the financials though, nothing great really to talk about. No big jump in terms of revenues. We have seen that the operating profit really has been moving. This is over the last 3-4 years. Nothing really is spectacular. And in terms of profitability, for the entire of last year, they follow calendar year, they did only around 9 crores. So just look at these numbers, you'll say, well, what's so great? But there are a couple of triggers. And if you look very, very closely, their gross block has moved up. It's close to have more than doubled in the last few years. So let's get the gross block really up for you on the screen. That will give you the picture. Okay, we don't have that. All right. So the gross block has doubled. It's currently at around 3,800, 3,900 crores. And the sales numbers, they haven't moved much. The important point is, in terms of an asset turn, they do close to around 0.8 times. So what that's telling you is that with the current gross block that they have, after removing the working capital in progress, they can close to have double their sales at optimum capacity utilization, just going by history. The second big factor really is globally, Linde and Praxair, who are competitors currently, They're going to merge. What that really kicks up is a big conglomerate. It's close to around a $65 billion conglomerate, which is in the works currently. It has been getting delayed. So if that happens, then what are the benefits for an Indian shareholder? Synergy benefits will play out. I am in touch with the steel players. Some of them use Praxair, some of them use Linde. So if they can merge, there will be synergy benefits that will flow through. Pricing power as well will help them. In addition to that, the old rumor delisting, or in fact, there could be an open offer if there is a change of control. In the debt picture, they have close to around 1,000 crores in terms of debt, though the average borrowing rate has been coming down. Big funds that hold them, Reliance Cap there stands out with close to around 8.5% stake in the company, promoter holding at around 75%. Well, there are always uncertainties, overcapacity, global uncertainties if they play out. And in fact, some of these steel players as well who have blast furnace, they could be heavily leveraged as well. But interesting company. The next few years is going to be interesting with the current gross block. Can they do sales of 3,500 crores approximately? That's the question.
Okay, thanks a lot for educating us once again, Nigel. Linde India is the stock on our Mid-Cap Mania segment today. Once again, to reiterate, this is not a recommendation. All this is proprietary research from Nigel D'Souza. But let's move on, because if you want to make money in this market and you don't want to do a lot of thinking, all you have to do is put your money with some of the best fund managers. And in fact, we've invited one of them on our show today. Motilal Oswal Focused Multi-Cap 35 Fund, as most of us know, is the best performing multi-cap fund in the last 1 year. According to Value Research, if you look at the returns, in 1 year you've gotten 37% returns versus the Nifty 500 giving you 21% returns. So not only have you beaten inflation, you've even beaten the Nifty 500 if you invested in this fund. Gautam Sinha Roy, the fund manager at Motilal Oswal Mutual Fund, joins us now. Gautam, first of all, congratulations. I understand that your fund completes 3 years in this week.
All the best for next year. Of course, the last 1 year has been quite good for Motilal Oswal Focus 35. But let's shift focus to near-term trading ideas, because the market has moved to the high point. And look at that, Sensex is now up 305 points, the Nifty up 102 points, and the mid-cap index is also rallying now. For BTST time, buy today, sell tomorrow. Prakash and Mitesh still with us. I'm assuming we'll go with some buy ideas. Mitesh, you go first.
Yeah, in fact, both of them are buy ideas. I have a BTST or a short-term buy on Gas Authority with a stop at 403 for targets of around 430. And the other one is R Power. I think that's one stock where the intraday charts are quite interesting. So that's a buy as well. Keep a stop below 48.5 and look for a 52 as the target for next 1-2 days.
And what about you, Prakash?
Sonia, I have Bharti Infratel. Target is 365, stop 352. MCX also looks like a buy. Can climb to levels close to 1200 zones, stop below 1158 or so.
Okay, let's take a break on that note. We'll come back with market closing.
Welcome back. The market is surging now. So a century hit by the Nifty. We did that earlier, but now it's back to the high point. As you can see, ITC is one stock that's powering ahead and making sure that its presence is felt. And a couple of others as well that we've been speaking about are really gaining ground right now. Anuj, turning out to be a really good market.
Yeah, and what's interesting, Sonia, is that, today's institutional number will become important to watch. Looks like there's been a bit of a basket buying, because economy facing stocks have done well. Reliance, Axis Bank, HDFC Bank, Larsen and Toubro, the cement names. So I'll go across to Nimesh as well to find out. My intuition is that today you could see some FI buying as well after many days of FI selling. We have seen the global sentiment also turn a bit. As you were talking to Jeffrey in the morning, that the risk appetite may have come back because of what's happening in Europe. So I think it's a combination of all of that. Let's see what kind of fund flows we have, because if institutional buying resumes at higher levels, then this market can have some follow through, which is something which the market lacked last time around.
Okay, in fact, on that note, let's go across to Nimesh and find out whether there is FI buying that we can see. Nimesh, that's one thing that's lacking in the market. No great contribution from FIIs. What are the dealers, the traders saying? Do you think FI buying could resume?
Well, Sonia, at least the feedback from the dealing desk was today's rally is backed by institutional support. So, maybe whether it's the DIs or the FIs, it could also be the case that the selling could have been much lower that we've been seeing in the last few days by the larger FIs. So, it could be a combination of, the DI number pretty strong compared to the selling that we have seen. But, today there was a lot of action in the institutional desk. That's the feedback which is coming in. Aggressive buying into the cement stocks for the first time in many days. some of the cement stocks have seen some bit of buying interest. There were a lot of bids at the institutional desk as well, asking for Ultratech, ACC. ACC for the first time in many years is up 7% in a single trading session. So that's one sector which is stand out, and after that it's the bank space. There is no specific trigger for bank stocks to rally, but so today's rally is largely led by the large cap names, whether it's banks, whether it's private banks, whether it's cement stocks. So that's been the trend in today's trade. While the mid caps have done remarkably well, but still, today is a day of large caps, and so to speak, some institutional activity has clearly been seen. Again, we are heading towards that resistance of 9250, 9300 on the Nifty. Expiry is there this week, so it will be keenly watched. But the sense is today's rally is backed by institutional buying, so that probably is a thing to watch out for. We'll have to watch out for the Reliance results post closing today. That could be a fresh trigger for the markets tomorrow to watch out. But the broad sense is, it looks like the institutional games is back. Some bit of risk on is back in the system across Asia and India as well, and that probably can let the rally to the next leg. So pretty much something to watch out in terms of flows, and of course from a technical point of view, 9250, 9300 is a very strong resistance level to break. If that is broken out, probably you'll see this market's heading higher with even mid caps and small cap participating.
Okay, Nimesh, thanks a lot for that. Mr. Tulsian, thoughts on Bharat Forge, one of your favorite names. You've been recommending it for long on the channel. At 1140, what's the call?
See, Anuj, you are right, and I continue to have the same bullish view on the stock. There is no point in talking of the near-term triggers for the stock, saying that North America truck market sales are seen improving, management is confident, guidance from the management has always been, the body language has always been robust, defense play and all that. You need to have conviction. There are few stocks like maybe Bharat Forge, Bharat Electronics, that is BEL Limited, on which we have been consistently keeping the positive view, and we are maintaining the same positive view. The only advice which can be given to the investors, those who wish to buy these kind of stocks, that they should look to wait for the share price to fall. They should not buy it in the rising market, because if you take a trading pattern of these stocks, you will always finding them trading in a range, which corrects maybe in the next couple of weeks. The same trading range is seen available. So maybe if you are taking an investment call, then look to buy maybe on the dip. But I'm keeping my positive stance on Bharat Forge maybe with the next 1 year view as well.
Okay, well, the other space that will be in focus tomorrow is a lot of the NBFCs, because it's going to be a heavy day in terms of earnings. You have Canfin Homes, LIC Housing Finance, M&M Financial, ICICI Pru, IDFC Bank, all coming out with numbers, and within that, of course, a lot of them NBFCs. Mr. Tulsian, quick word on any of these names that you would be bullish on ahead of numbers, considering that there's been so much action in this space?
Sonia, I'll be having my positive view on all the NBFCs, but again, it all needs to be looked into the valuation also. Take the case of M&M Financial. I'm not saying that the results are due in the near term or maybe in this week itself. You need to take a call on all these companies, in relation to the valuations also existing for these NBFCs. But yes, I'm having my positive view on NBFC, microfinance company and housing finance company. But let's not forget that the valuations of all these companies or all these sectors are also seen to be ruling at quite high. But still amongst the space, probably I'll take a positive call, maybe like Bajaj Finance. I'm taking a broader view. As I said, that I'm not restricting my view only with the results, which are due in this week. So maybe, the stocks like Bajaj Finance, Ujjivan Financials, Bharat Financials now having corrected or seem to be moving in this range. I will be keeping, or maybe Manappuram Finance, I'm keeping the positive view on this on these companies on a select basis. But yes, overall positive view on the microfinance company, housing finance company and NBFCs.
Okay, 3.5 minutes left. So what should be the index trade? Mitesh, does it look like a breakout has occurred today, or do we need some more evidence? Because last time as well, the market failed out somewhere around this 9250 zone on the Nifty. Bank Nifty, of course, we all know has been stronger. But on the Nifty, is this a confirmed breakout?
See, Anuj, price-wise, the breakout will happen beyond 9260. But, a couple of days I've been saying that the indicator setup has turned flat. Now, that has started to rise on the buy side. So, I think that's a very positive sign. That kind of, preempts that a breakout should happen. So, unless until 9170 gets broken, I would maintain a positive bias. Buy here and buy more once we get past 9260 and look for 9350, 9400 as the short-term target.
Okay, just 2.5 minutes more to go. Mayuresh, what about you on the NBFCs? Because we have a lot of them coming out with their numbers tomorrow. Some of them, the bigger ones like LIC, Housing Finance, etc. What would your top pick be in that space?
So again, I think stable growth expected, Sonia. So LIC Housing, 15% loan growth is what we believe at our end. Canfin Homes has been exceptional in terms of numbers reporting. GNP is absolutely low, net NP is absolutely nil because of the provisioning that they do. And the kind of CAGR that they've posted, my own sense is that with the asset base that they've got, they should be able to report a robust set of numbers going ahead as well. So yes, I think remain extremely optimistic on Canfin Homes. And within the rural focused NBFCs, my own sense is that Chola Investment is something that can be looked at as rural demand starts coming through, specifically in terms of financing of rural focused vehicles. My own sense is Chola Investment will have a very strong earnings growth going ahead. So Chola Investment and Canfin Homes is something that we continue to prefer within the NBFC space.
Okay, a minute left for markets to close. Let's just do a quick recap. Remarkably strong day today. Almost a trend day, you'll have to say, on the Bank Nifty for sure, up 1.5%. In fact, it will be interesting to see in terms of closing. It's a new record closing for the mid-cap index for sure, but we're very close to a new closing high for the Bank Nifty as well. On the Nifty, of course, just about 0.5% away from its highs. In terms of stocks that moved, sector of the day today was cement, led by ACC, which was up 7%, which was your stock of the day actually since morning, up quite a bit, 7% on final count. And other cement stocks like Ultratech. In fact, the top four gainers today were all cement names: ACC, Ultratech, Ambuja, Grasim as well. Larsen & Toubro was up 2.5%, GAIL was up 2.5%, HDFC Bank, phenomenal week for HDFC Bank, this one actually, was a phenomenal month rather, ever since its numbers, the stock has surged. Bank of Baroda, Axis, Tata Power, Indiabulls Housing ahead of numbers, Kotak Mahindra Bank, Maruti, Bharti Infratel, Adani Ports, lots of stocks surging. On the way down, Pharma clearly stood out as a sector. Lupin was down 3%, Cipla and Aurobindo Pharma were down about 1%. The mid-cap index was a bit of a sideshow today because it was all about large caps, but there also we saw some big gainers today.
Yes, we did see some big gainers, and a lot of these non-index large caps rallied today. India Cements was one stock, 6.5% higher there. You had a lot of banks that moved in late trade, names like Vijaya Bank, Indian Bank, South Indian Bank. So there was plenty of action there. Indiabulls Real Estate once again surged up about 7%. Bombay Dyeing was up 3%. Fortis Healthcare, where there is talk about KKR, investing some money. So 3% higher there. Ashok Leyland has made a lot of strides in the other businesses apart from commercial vehicles like spare parts, LCVs, etc. So Ashok Leyland up about 2.5%, and a couple of these sugar stocks continue to move up. So Bajaj Hindustan was up almost about 2%. So there was plenty really to talk about in the broader markets. On the downside, Dish TV has been sulking, down 6.5% today, and huge volumes on the downside. Something's happening there. In fact, this month Dish TV has lost almost about 14%. Keep an eye out on that. Jain Irrigation and Syntex are a couple of other stocks that are down almost about 2% or so. But let's wind down the day's trade with the news that it's been a very, very strong day for the bulls today. Almost a triple century for the Sensex, 290 points higher, and the Nifty up about 100 odd points. So you couldn't ask for a better start to the week for sure. The bulls, that is. But Mr. Dulcian, just before we end, Dish TV has lost quite a bit of ground lately. What's your prognosis here?
See, Sonia, I think people are talking that this Reliance Jio will be moving into the DTH space, and that is seen as a big threat for the Dish TV. And when the negative starts, people start talking of the acquisition of the Videocon also seem to be an expensive at this point of time. When people go negative, they start comparing this when the Kingfisher has acquired the Deccan Air. But I won't be buying all these arguments, at this stage, because these kind of news flows keep coming in. But Reliance Jio entry into DTH is seen inevitable, and that could going to be a threat to the company going forward. So maybe on the valuation parameter, I don't think that you have much upside left here from the investment point of view.
Okay, well, let's wind down the discussion on that note. Gentlemen, thank you as always for joining us and taking us through the last 1 hour of trade. It's been a phenomenal day for the bulls. The Nifty back above that 9200 mark. But our closing bell money control question of the day is on the sector of the day, cement. ACC reported volume growth after 3 quarters of a decline. Is the worst over for the cement sector, or are we too soon to say that? 69% of the people feel that the worst is over for the cement sector, whereas 31% feel otherwise. So I guess people popping the champagne already.
Yeah, I guess you're as good as your last innings. So you've seen today's numbers, and the market is excited about that. RKR 911 saying that with the infrastructure push from the government, the demand for cement is only going to go up. That's a valid point.
And Equideus and 09 says not yet. It's been slow going. Sector, the real growth will be in the second half of 2017. All right, that caution is taken as well. Coming up on the other side, market of the French elections.